Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring an idea from Dr. Jiajie Zhang at UTHealth Houston, and it's a big one.
It really is.
He argues that for the first time in human history, intelligence isn't locked inside the brain anymore. It's become scalable, shareable, and open source.
And that's not just hype. He's not talking about the future. He's describing right now. He calls it the James Watt moment for the human mind.
A James Watt moment. Wow.
Yeah. And our mission for this deep dive is to really analyze the source material, his presentation from September 24th, 2025, and see what this open source intelligence is already doing in science and health.
Okay, so if that's true, if intelligence is suddenly this abundant, almost free resource, the question for everyone, and especially for you listening, is, well, who's going to use it to lead?
And to really get that, you almost have to look back, look at history, but through an economic lens.
Right, the Industrial Revolution analogy, that's the perfect starting point. You had engines, and they completely shattered the cost of physical work.
Totally.
The sources mentioned moving from, say, Houston to New York City. The travel time dropped by, what, 99%? And the cost by 97%. It basically freed the human body.
And that is exactly what AI is doing right now. But for cognitive labor, for thinking, tasks that used to define high-value human work analysis, research, the cost is just collapsing.
What kind of collapse are we talking about?
Well, Dr. Zhang had a very specific data point. A task that once took 100 hours of human brain power now takes 2 hours with an AI partner.
100 hours down to 2.
It's a 98% saving, a 98% drop in the cost of cognitive work.
That's almost unbelievable. But saving time is one thing. Is the output any good? I mean, is it just a cheap tool, or is it actually elite?
It's immediately eligible for the Mensa Club. We're talking top 2% IQ right out of the box. And this isn't some fringe idea.
No, it's the consensus.
It's total consensus. You've got Bill Gates, Eric Schmidt, Sam Altman, Jensen Huang. They all agree. AI is going to redefine how we teach, how we work, how we create art, everything.
Mark Zuckerberg even claimed most of our friends will soon be AI. And you have countries like the UAE
using it to write laws.
Using AI to write actual laws.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that immediately brings up massive questions about governance, right? You delegate something that fundamental.
Oh, absolutely. And governance is the big challenge. We'll definitely circle back to that. But the fact that governments are even trying it shows you how much confidence they have in the raw cognitive power. We're past the point of asking if it can do it.
So the question is now how we manage it.
Exactly.
Okay, let's dive into that evidence then, the cognitive mastery. Where do we see it being tested against, the best of the best humans?
Well, the academic frontiers are fascinating. These are tests designed to find the absolute peak of human intelligence. And AI is, well, it's excelling.
Like
Gold medals at the International Mathematics Olympiad, the IMO. And then look at the AME, the American Invitational Mathematics Exam. This is for the top 1% of high school students.
Right.
The AI models scored more than twice as high as the human average on that test.
Twice as high. And it's not just math, is it? We're talking PhD level stuff.
Oh, way beyond math. The GPQA, which is a Google benchmark. It's PhD level physics, chemistry, biology. And then there's the MMLU, which is like a super SAT covering 57 different subjects. AI is right there at the top.
So if it can master academic tests, what about professional exams?
Yeah.
Getting a license to practice?
It's the same story. Take the medical licensure exams in the U.S. The AI systems don't just pass. They consistently outperform the human average on step 1, 2, and 3.
They outperform the average doctor.
Correct. The only exception mentioned in the sources is the dental exam. Humans are still a little bit ahead there, but the AI still passes easily.
Which raises the big question then. If the machine can pass the test, what is the point of the human student? What do we teach?
The curriculum has to transform. It doesn't disappear. It evolves. For K-12, you stop focusing on rote memorization. The AI has that covered. You shift to AI literacy, to bias awareness, to social-emotional learning, the human stuff. And for grad school, it becomes all about human-AI collaboration, competency. AI isn't replacing education, it's forcing it to get better.
Okay, so that's benchmarks. Astonishing. But let's talk about brute force research. What does scalable intelligence look like when you point it at a huge scientific problem, like protein folding?
Now we get to AlphaFold. This might be the single best example of this new scientific velocity in 1 year.
Right.
Just 1 year. AlphaFold mapped 200 million protein 3D structures.
200 million.
To give you some context, Dr. Zhang's team calculated that for all the world's PhDs in every single discipline to do that manually, it would take them 650 years.
650 years of work done in one.
That's the time compression we're talking about. It doesn't just speed up science, it fundamentally changes what's possible.
And we're seeing the same thing in genomics with AlphaGenome.
Exactly. It's working at a scale of 1 million base pairs, which is about 5 times bigger than previous models. And it's not just bigger. It outperformed the leading models on 24 out of 26 different tasks.
So the leadership in scientific discovery is actually, it's shifting to AI.
It's so profound that the Nobel Prizes in physics and chemistry have already been influenced. The Nobel Committee actually recognized the AI breakthroughs themselves, the foundational work, not just a discovery made with the tool. AI is becoming the science itself.
Wow.
It drafts hypotheses from literature, it accelerates drug discovery, it streamlines clinical trials, it's everywhere.
And that speed and accuracy, that's now translating directly into the clinic, right? To patient care.
It is. The sources pointed to a Microsoft AI system that was tested on these really difficult diagnostic cases from the New England Journal of Medicine.
Okay, the hardest cases, how did the humans do?
The physicians averaged about 20% correct.
20%. And the AI?
The AI was between 80 and 90% accurate.
4 times more accurate.
4 times more accurate on the toughest cases. And it ordered fewer, less expensive tests to get there. It's a revolution in both outcomes and efficiency.
And it's not just one niche tool. It's being embedded across the entire workflow.
The whole gamut. You've got predictive risk models, virtual triage bots, ambient AI scribes that write the notes during a visit.
Which saves a huge amount of administrative time.
Massive amount. They're even building digital twins, virtual copies of a patient to simulate treatments before they're given.
And what about the operational side? The numbers, the business case for a hospital to adopt this stuff.
The metrics are just undeniable. AI is speeding up stroke alerts by 40 minutes.
40 minutes in a stroke, that can be everything.
It's the difference between recovery and permanent disability. These ambient tools are cutting documentation time by 30%, reducing clinician burnout by 15%.
I saw a number for Kaiser's Copilot.
DX Copilot saved 16,000 hours of documentation time. And on the billing side, it's lowering insurance denials and cutting the time to write an appeal from 45 minutes down to under 5.
Hold on. 45 minutes to 5. Just that one thing changes the entire financial model of a clinic. But with all this speed, all this capability, there have to be enormous risks. This can't be a simple plug-and-play solution.
No, and that's the critical challenge. Safety has to be priority one. You've got huge ethical issues, bias baked into the models, privacy, a lack of transparency, the black box problem, and, accountability. When it gets something wrong, who's responsible?
And if patients don't trust it, the utility just collapses.
Instantly.
The regulators are trying to catch up, obviously. You have the U.S. executive orders and then the EU AI Act, which seems to be one of the strictest frameworks in the world.
Right, and institutions are caught in the middle of this patchwork of mandates. AI governance isn't an add-on anymore. It's not optional. It has to be built into the core of how you operate legally and safely.
So let's bring it back to the human side of this, the workforce.
Yeah.
Dr. Zhang talks about a distributed human AI system. What does that actually look like?
It's the augmented future. Our cognitive capacity as humans is pretty stable. AI's knowledge is growing exponentially, so we have to train people for collaboration, not competition.
So the human role shifts.
Completely. You stop being a memory bank. You move from recall to recognition. You move from generating hypotheses to evaluating the hypotheses that AI gives you.
So the human provides the context, the judgment, the empathy.
The wisdom. The AI does the heavy lifting on data processing.
This could even lead to a kind of unification of medicine. An AI could synthesize all this specialist knowledge and empower a primary care doctor to be this sort of augmented generalist.
A more holistic approach, absolutely. But for all of this power, all this intelligence, there is still a boundary, a very human boundary.
Which brings us to that personal story Dr. Zhang told.
Exactly. He tried to get a very advanced AI to write a speech for his daughter's wedding.
And it failed.
It failed spectacularly. And he was very clear about why. It wasn't a lack of intelligence, it wasn't vocabulary, it failed, and these were his words, because it lacks a beating heart and a whole life behind it.
A beating heart. That's the line, isn't it? That irreplaceable personal, emotional core.
That is still and may always be exclusively human territory.
So to pull this all together, AI is flattening the world of intelligence. It's making it cheap, scalable, abundant. We're seeing this 98% collapse in the cost of cognitive labor. which is fueling discoveries in medicine, in genomics, everywhere.
And the strategic advantage now, it doesn't go to the richest or the most established institutions. It goes to the boldest,
Right.
the ones who adapt, who scale this decisively, and who build the governance to manage it. Speed of connection is everything.
So, given all that, if the heavy lifting of cognition diagnosis, research, analysis can be handled by AI, and human excellence is really about creativity, empathy, the unique context, what new forms of wisdom and emotional intelligence must you cultivate to actually lead in this new augmented reality?
That's the question of our time.